Black walls.
One candle, a human skull on a rough wooden table, and above it, 7 letters. V.I.T.R.I.O.L. This is where, in many lodges that work the symbolic degrees of the ancient and accepted Scottish Rite, a candidate begins, not in the lodge room, but alone, in a chamber about the size of a closet. It isn't a horror set. Those 7 letters are a Latin sentence, folded into an acronym, and reading it is the first thing the knight asks of him.
The line is
Visita, Interiora, Terrae, Rectificando, Invenies, Occultum, Lapidem. It's usually rendered, visit the interior of the earth, and by rectifying it, you will find the hidden stone. Purify what's buried, in other words, and you'll find the stone hidden inside. Hold on to that hidden stone. The whole first degree is built around it.
And here's what confuses many viewers.
Despite the name, the Scottish Rite isn't simply a Scottish invention. Its modern form grew out of 18th century French high-degree masonry and was organized into the first Supreme Council of the 33-degree system at Charleston, South Carolina in 1801. In the United States today, the Scottish Rite usually begins after the first 3 Blue Lodge degrees. It's the body that confers the degrees numbered 4 through 32. But in parts of continental Europe and Latin America, those first 3 symbolic degrees may themselves be worked according to the Scottish Rite tradition. And in that tradition, the first degree can begin right here, in the Black Room, with the skull. Back up to the start of the night. A man stands outside a building he's probably walked past 100 times. Tonight, he can't simply walk in. He leaves his money and his rank at the door. In the symbolism of the degree, a man arrives owning nothing, so that nothing he carries in from ordinary life gets to decide who he is inside. The title on his business card means nothing in this room. He enters as a beginner, or he doesn't enter.
And he's brought into the dark.
Masonry calls this being in darkness, and it stands for the oldest idea in every initiation there is. The state of a man who doesn't yet know what he doesn't know. Before the lodge will receive him, in this tradition, he goes first to that small black room. It has a name, the Chamber of Reflection. In French, the Cabinet de Réflexion. It's one of the clearest differences viewers tend to notice between many continental-style first-degree workings and the plainer Anglo-American Blue Lodge style. Most English-speaking lodges don't use it. The continental tradition often does, and it sets the temperature for everything that follows. Every object in the room is an argument. The exact objects vary from one jurisdiction to the next, but the grammar stays the same. The skull and the hourglass say what the Romans carved on their tombs. Your time runs out, so spend it on something that matters. The bread and the water are a meal for a modest man, not a powerful one. And where they appear, the salt stands for the wisdom that preserves, and the sulfur for the part of the self that has to burn off. And the parchment is for him. In many workings, he's asked to sit alone by candlelight and write down what he believes and what he'd leave behind. Possibly the first time in his adult life, he's been made to do it with nothing to distract him. And above all of it, those 7 letters again. Visit the interior of the earth. The earth here is him. The hidden stone is buried inside the man who walked in off the street. When he leaves the chamber, he's led toward a door with light underneath it, and he still can't see it clearly. The ritual has a precise word for him now: candidate, from the Latin candidus, white or shining. It's a word that once evoked the white garment of a man presenting himself in public, and Masonry keeps the image. A figure turned toward a light he's been promised and not yet shown. That's the engine of the whole first degree, an image older than Masonry itself.
Then the light comes,
and he sees the room for the first time. It's built to be read like a diagram. The floor is a checkerboard of black and white squares, the mosaic pavement, and it makes a plain point: no life is all one color. Good days and bad ones are laid down side by side, and you walk across both. Two great pillars stand near the entrance. Masonry calls them Boaz and Jachin, and takes them straight from the description of Solomon's temple in the Hebrew scriptures, where two bronze pillars stood at the porch. The ceiling is full of stars, because the lodge is meant to be a small model of the cosmos. Order drawn over chaos, and at the center, a single point of light, and three things laid together: a book of sacred law, a square, and a pair of compasses. The order calls them the three great lights.
Now the actual lesson.
The one the whole night has been building toward. Somewhere on the floor sits a block of stone, rough, uneven, straight from the quarry. Masons call it the rough ashlar. Across the room sometimes sits a second block, cut perfectly square and smooth, the perfect ashlar. The first stone is him tonight. The second is what a lifetime of work might make of him.
For this first labor,
The Scottish Rite hands him three tools: a rule, a mallet, and a chisel. The rule is marked into 24 parts for the 24 hours of a day, and it does two jobs at once. It asks how he's spending those hours, and it sets the standard that keeps every cut honest. The mallet is force, will, energy, the raw push to actually make a change. And the chisel is the mind, discernment, method, the trained edge that turns blind force into something precise.
the Rite pairs them on purpose.
Swing the mallet at the bare stone, and you shatter it. Force with no discernment just destroys. Hold the chisel without the mallet, and nothing moves at all. Judgment with no will never strikes a blow. The apprentice has to learn to swing with the full force of the mallet, and guide every cut with the edge of the chisel, kept true to the rule.
That's the first degree.
In a single image. Not wisdom handed over, not power, not secrets. A measure, a force, and an edge, and the slow work of removing what doesn't belong. Visit the interior of the earth. Rectify it. Find the hidden stone. The perfect ashlar was never going to be delivered to him. It was always inside the rough one, waiting for everything that wasn't it to be cut away.
When it's over, he hasn't become a master.
That word is 2 degrees and traditionally years away. He leaves as the lowest rank the order has, the beginner, the apprentice. And the work has barely started. In the time after, he's handed a body of instruction to learn. Traditionally, a set of questions and answers he has to know well enough to prove himself before he's allowed to move on. It's not a performance, and it isn't dramatic. It's the homework of becoming a mason, the part where the symbols he just walked through get turned over slowly, one at a time. The continental Scottish Rite version of this leans more philosophical than the English and American ones, and it asks him to write his own papers, not only recite. We won't go through any of it here. The point is that the ceremony was the doorway. The studying is the building. And that's the thing this tradition is quiet but firm about. The first light a man receives isn't a secret whispered in his ear. It's the weight of a responsibility he didn't carry that morning. To keep working on the one piece of material he actually controls, which is himself. He came in from the dark, owning nothing. He walks out at dawn with a ruler, a gavel, and a rough stone with a single squared corner. Everything else, he has to cut himself.